Lee G News, live and direct coverage at an all-time high. You have the one and only Lee the G broadcasting live from right here at 48 Inches TV. And we've got a lot to get to on our very first episode, so let's jump right in it. All right. Everybody in the world knows that Lee G is a fan of the Kentucky Wildcats. I love my big blue Wildcats. You know that. Unfortunately, the season is coming to a close faster than I would like to admit. We lost the opening game of the SEC tournament, 80-73 to the Vanderbilt Commodores right there in Nashville. Reeves showed up. Toppin did an outstanding job, and Sheboy, he's going to do what he does. But can I just shoot straight stone? I mean, I do not like this team. They finished the season 21-11. As you know, the city of Lexington, which is home to the Wildcats, was very disgruntled this season. With the progress and just the overall tumultuous nature of this season of the team. And it's just, I don't know. It came in as a third seed in the SEC tournament, didn't have to play until 9:30 on Friday night. It's just the third day. And people thought that this Kentucky team had a sense of a shot at redemption. Maybe running the table, maybe exacting revenge upon Alabama, getting some get back to Vanderbilt, maybe showing Texas A&M, who is in fact the toughest team in the Southeastern Conference, and it just did not work out that way. Shout out to the coaching staff, of the Kentucky Wildcats, outside of Coach Calipari, who takes all the heat and stuff. But I just don't know if this team ever got it going this season. Now, we're going to wait on the end of the day on Selection Sunday to see where the Cats will be placed in the tournament. But I think it's going to be one and done. I think the Wildcats will not find the chemistry that they have yet to find all season long, all through the first 35, 40 games of this season as we, limp into March Madness in about a week or so. And I just do not foresee the Kentucky Wildcats getting the ship righted this season. Now, I don't know. I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong, as me being a Lexington native. I would love to see my Wildcats, run deep in March, but I just don't see it happening. So one and done in the SEC tournament, and I believe they're going to be one and done in the NCAA tournament as well. Now, as for my beloved Louisville Cardinals, because, I love my Louisville Cardinals as well, they lost the opening game to Boston College. That final score was 80-62. And Louisville finished the season 4-28. Stone. 4-28. Now, God rest his soul, my father was the biggest Louisville Cardinal fan in the world, and I can't, talk crap to him. My brother, a lot of times he doesn't answer the phone because he knows what I'm on. He knows what I want. But look me in my face. Look me in my face, Louisville Cardinals fans. Big Red Nation. I'm going to get some hate mail for that. Stay the course, okay? Coach Kenny Payne is the man for the job. He's, alumni from that 80 championship team. And, a lot of these Louisville Cardinals from this team are entering the transfer portal, as we've seen in the headlines and things of that nature on Barstool. But I need you true Red fans to just keep the faith and re-up, because it wasn't fun for me as a Kentucky Wildcat fan, first and foremost. It was no longer fun because I didn't get to go back and forth with you guys. You guys knew you stunk by the 5th or 6th game of the season. So you weren't on the Twitter, you weren't on Facebook, you weren't texting me, you weren't, throwing your L's up and saying veal whore and all that to me. So the fun of this season just wasn't there. And truth be told, both of the teams stunk. Okay, Louisville was 4-28, Kentucky was 21-11, and lost a lot of games that they should have won, underachieved for the roster that they have. Coach Cal has been in Lexington for 14 years now. He's got 1 championship. It's getting kind of old at this point. So, I'm ready for this season to be over with for the both of us, for Kentucky Wildcats fans and for Louisville Cardinals fans. It's been a lot. But I'll tell you what, I need to see more life in this rivalry. It's become one-sided. And it used to be, back in the 90s, that I can remember, whoever was the better team never won that game. Do you remember that? Like, if Kentucky was ranked high, Louisville would kick that ass. And if Louisville was having a good season and overachieving, Kentucky would always remind them of the rivalry. And I just don't see that anymore. And I need that back in the basketball game. Now, in the football rivalry, we're good. That's good money. But this basketball season, I'm ready to be over with for both of us. Shout out to the Northern Kentucky Norse, though. They won their conference and they punched their ticket to the big dance for the 2nd year in a row. That's outstanding. So we do have somebody else to cheer on after Kentucky loses its first game, because I think they are. And that's not me being a hater. That's me being honest and contrite and having a clerical assessment of what I've seen in this product this year. I do not think that Kentucky's going to, we'll see. It's always contingent upon matchups. And location. The Big Blue Nation travels well, so we'll see. But as far as the product, as far as what we've been consuming this entire season, I just am not a believer, and I do not have any faith in this team. But I love them. That does not make me disloyal. I love my team. I'm just honest. I just, you call a club a club. You call a diamond, and that's what I see. Now, as far as you, Mr. Oscar Shibwe, I wish you well, sir. Like, you have given us the best. I hope you do will this team into a deep run into March. But honestly, I think you should have left last year. You were a lottery pick, player of the year. You came back, and what did we achieve? We, as in the Kentucky Wildcats, nothing. So we will see. How the finality of this season transpires for the still alive Kentucky Wildcats. And as for the Louisville Cardinals, I think this opportunity needs to be taken to regroup and restock and refocus. And I want to wish all my well to Coach Kenny Payne and the Louisville Cardinals program. And you, Coach Cal, John Calipari, let's go, man. Jeez. It's March here in Kentucky, and that only means one thing. The road to Rupp Arena, the KHSAA Sweet 16 tournament is upon us. And for the ladies, I would like to congratulate the girls of Sacred Heart for three-peating, thrice champions of the state of Kentucky. They knocked off McCracken County 68-53 to retain the crown. And much props from all of us here at Lee G News to Sacred Heart. Job well done. Now, I thought, honestly, Stone, I thought George Rogers Clark was going to get them. The ladies of GRC, the Byers sisters, and all those girls down there in Winchester, Coach Erica Jackson, the assistant coach, and GRC kicked up dust this whole season. And I thought Sacred Heart was going to go down to them, but oh no. Sacred Heart beat Clark County and then went on to knock off McCracken County 68-53 to win their third straight back-to-back championship. So congratulations to the women of Sacred Heart. Now for the guys, we've got the boys tournament kicking off this Wednesday, March 15th in Lexington, Kentucky at Rupp Arena. And let's just go through some of these matchups that we've come up. We've got Elizabethtown taking on McCracken County. So McCracken County made it for the girls and the guys. We've got Jeffersontown out of Louisville, and they're taking on Woodford County. Now, Stone, I don't know if you know, but Woodford County is Versailles. It's just right outside of Lexington. You can actually see the blue building while standing in Woodford County. Not really, but I'm kidding. Then we've got the Bowling Green boys, Warren Central. They'll be taking on Pulaski County. And the final game on March 15th is Owensboro and Ashland Blazer. Then the next day, we have the Broncos of Frederick Douglass in Lexington. They will be taking on Martin County. You have the Male Bulldogs. They will be taking on Breathitt County. Lyon County versus Newport. And you have the Gentlemen of George Rogers Clark. They will be taking on North Laurel. Now, Stone, you heard some familiar names. We heard McCracken County is in there. We heard Frederick Douglass is in there. We heard George Rogers Clark in there. These teams, I want to give a kudos to their athletic program and their school in general. Both the boys and the girls reached Lexington for the Sweet 16 tournament. That's commendable. I went to Bryan Station High School, and we haven't been to the Sweet 16 since 1989. That was Mike Allen and Nimbo Hammonds and those boys. But the 11th region is that tough. You can't just walk out of the 11th region. You're going to bump into the competition. I went to Bryan Station, and we were always right there on the cusp, right there at the edge. There was Lexington Catholic. There's Dunbar. There's Madison Central. My goodness. Dunbar just won the title in 2016. Tay Hollingsworth and Darius Williams and those boys. So that was the last time Lexington won a state championship. And before that was 2001 with the Lafayette Generals. It's tough. They spread Louisville out into 2 and 3, districts and regions and stuff. And Lexington gets kind of squeezed into like 1.5. So we eat each other up. So, but I say all that to say this. I am rooting for the Frederick Douglass Broncos. I am rooting for the Woodford County Yellow Jackets because these are Lexington schools and Lexington-based schools, Lexington-influenced schools, and I'm pulling for the home team. My lifelong homeboy, Jerron Brown, is the head coach of Woodford County, and he's to be applauded for taking that program from the cellar to the penthouse. Here they are in Rupp Arena, and I'll be pulling for them against J-Town this Wednesday. Now, I know J-Town's fantastic, and Louisville Male, the Bulldogs, they'll be in the house. Coach Tim Hayworth, that's my guy right there. I'm looking forward to seeing him. But I'm ready for this tournament. Now, let me say this. The defending champs, they still have something to say. Sam Parrish and the George Rogers Clark Cardinals, defending state champions, they've shown back up. Now we've getting all this talk, about the other schools. Woodford County got hot and Douglas has been on fire all year long and J-Town and Male and things of that sort. And you still got McCracken County, Lyon County, and Ashland Blazer, but the George Rogers Clark Cardinals, they're going to be there. They'll be there. They will get a chance to defend their title, whether that be, I was about to make a prediction. But I'll say this. Those people down there in Winchester have got that program on the up and up. Not only it's hard to win a state title, which they did last year. It's even harder to defend it, which they have done. They've reached the Sweet 16 again. So I just wanted to take this time out to shout out Clark County and the George Rogers Clark Cardinals. And, I think that they have something to say. I think now I know that my entire hometown of Lexington is pulling for Douglas. And then you've got people from Lexington, rooting for Woodford County and Louisville roots for Louisville. Louisville always sends a Louisville team to Rupp Arena for the Sweet 16, whether that be Doss or Fern Creek or Ballard or Mail. I remember that 2020 season. It was the COVID season, and Howard Fleming and those Mail Bulldogs. They were had the season not been shut down. That was the best team in the state. So I'm those Louisville Male Bulldogs of that year. So I'm looking forward to see what these Louisville Male Bulldogs do. My brother went to Louisville Male, so I've always had an interest in them, as being one of the powerhouse schools down here in Louisville. So we will see. So this Wednesday we tip off. I will be there. You'll get your coverage at an all-time high, live and direct from Lee G at Rupp Arena for the Sweet 16, and I'm ready for that. So, all you gentlemen, all you young men within the sound of my voice, lock in, prepare, ready yourself for this lifelong memory, for this once in a lifetime opportunity. Think about the road and the journey that you've traveled to get here. Think about the practices, the sweat, the tears, the blood, the things that you had to go through to earn these victories and get these wins. Well, it's all about this moment right now. So settle in, trust your teammates, listen to your coaches, and I want to see some damn good basketball, because there is nothing better than high school basketball in the state of Kentucky. You've got your powerhouse Louisville schools. You got your powerhouse Lexington schools. Then those county teams and those mountain boys, they'll shoot the lights out and send you back home to your granny if you sleep on them. So I'm ready for a good tournament right here. Lee G News, 48 inches TV, the KHSAA Sweet 16 tournament tipping off this week. Folks, y'all know me. And I love baseball. I was fantastic at baseball. I love the game, love the sport, follow it. And in 2001, when Lexington decided we were going to break ground with our own minor league baseball franchise, I was ecstatic. I was excited. And for the last 20 plus years, I have been a die-hard Lexington Legends fan. We've won 4 championships. We won 2 in 3 years. And now it breaks my heart to announce that under new ownership, the Lexington baseball franchise has a new name, the Lexington Counter Clocks. Now, before I get into how I feel about this, let me just get into some facts. Stone, can I just go ahead and get into some Lee G News facts about this? The owners of Lexington's professional baseball team have decided to rename the team to the Lexington Counter Clocks. According to the team, this is in reference to the innovation of Kentucky pioneer William Whitley, who was the first horse racetrack that ran counterclockwise at his home known as Sportsman Hill. Story has it that this was done in spite of the British tradition in racing. Other facts about William Whitley include he was known as the Indian fighter. Whitley loved killing Indians so much he wrote poetry about it. He even volunteered to fight Indians well into his late 60s. He was killed in the Battle of Thames in Canada at the age of 64. One legend holds that he is responsible for killing the great Native American organizer and warrior Tecumseh. This is found engraved on the headstone of William Whitley. I am your horn, the truth I love, a lie I scorn. Fill me with your best of powder, to make your rifle crack the louder. See how they dread terrific ball, make Indians bleed and Tories fall. You with powder I'll supply, for you to defend your liberty. Another point about William Whitley, he was a slave owner. In his will, he left a Negro girl to one of his daughters. So, it's the innovation of a white supremacist that is celebrated in the name of the Counter Clocks. Maybe Nathan Lyons, who is the new owner of the Lexington baseball team, maybe Nathan Lyons hopes to turn back time. After all, his real estate development company is named Vintage South. I don't know about you, but the images of the Old South don't make me feel warm and fuzzy, and neither do the Counter Clocks. Stone, brother, I just don't like it. I don't like the name. And let me be honest with you, I didn't like the Lexington Legends name. I got over it. But I was like, Legends, why not Grasshoppers or Horseflies or something quirky, something like that. But I learned to love it. We are legendary, and I refer to people as a Lexington legend. So it made sense. But the Lexington Counter Clocks, that just sounds stupid. It just sounds freaking dumb off top. And then when you dig into it, I want to thank our Lee G News fact constituent, Justin Long. When you dig into it, you find out that the owner has named this after a man who was damn racist, an Indian killer, and wrote racist poetry. Now, let's talk about Kentucky. I was born and raised in Lexington, Kentucky. As a black man, when he wants to reverse the time counterclockwise to back when horse racing and baseball, I wasn't even allowed to be seen sitting on a horse. I certainly wasn't allowed to play baseball, and I would be killed if they found out I could tell time. So why would I, as a black man, a native Lexingtonian and beloved baseball fan, why would I want to go backwards? It's stupid. The logo looks like reverse cowgirl porn. Like he's riding reverse cowgirl. And then the C is backwards. And the colors are red, white, and blue now all of a sudden. It's old-timey. Mr. Lyons, your real estate company is called Vintage South. What's vintage about the South is not very positive, my sir, my good man. And I'm kind of torn here because I love baseball. I season ticket holder. I go up in the press box. I cover them, and I just don't have the desire. I'm still a fan of the Louisville Bats. Shout out to the Bowling Green Hot Rods and the Charleston Dirty Birds. Shout out to y'all. Because I'm fans of these teams. I love minor league baseball. I'm from a minor league city. I'm from Lexington. We ain't got nothing but 450,000 people. You know what I mean? We're a minor league baseball city. You know what I mean? So when we got one, I was like, finally, But the name change has made me kind of fall out of love with my own franchise. A rebranding, sometimes that's very necessary. And I would have loved to have liked the name, but I don't. And here's what another thing that bothers me: the lack of engagement from the organization. Y'all didn't even ask us. Y'all didn't even ask Lexington if we wanted to contribute to the name. You didn't ask the citizens of Lexington if they wanted to have an opinion about the name. You didn't ask the fans who fill up the stadium if they would like to make suggestions, and we can vote upon a plethora, a myriad of options. You just was supremacist in your ways about it. You just came in my city and threw your power around any old kind of way you want. There is a petition right now, Stone, of over 2,500 signatures of people who say, we hate this name, it freaking stinks. And you won't even acknowledge it. The news outlets in the city of Lexington have made polls, of which 98% has says, take that name and shove it up your keister. And you're paying no attention. We don't like it. We don't want it. I've even seen people say that they will show up fully draped in Legends gear, in green and blue and gray, with the L logo on the hat. That hat was so cool, people from Louisville wanted that hat. And yeah, we're going over a little bit. It's a little bit beyond the segment, but I got a fire in my heart about this. Because baseball is everyone's game. You don't have to be, in basketball, you have to be tall. In football, you have to be big. In baseball, you can be whatever you want. Fat, short, slow. You don't even have to speak English. I felt very included in baseball. And now, my team, I don't like your name. Sunday, March 26th, right here in Louisville, Kentucky, we have the debut of Derby City Wrestling coming to the West End in Louisville. And I'm more excited than I need to be because ever since I was 4 years old, I've been in love with wrestling. And you guys know that. You've seen me. You followed my career and the different wrestling promotions that I've worked for and the different hats that I've worn in those promotions. But now we have an all-black promotion right here in the West End of Louisville. And the first show would be March 26th, Sunday, March 26th, at the Norton Healthcare Sports and Learning Center. That's located at 3029 West Muhammad Ali Boulevard, Louisville, Kentucky, 40212. 5 p.m. is the bell time. Tickets start at $12. And you can look up the information on derbycitywrestling.tv. Now, on the flyer, as you could see on the screen, there's Moose, there's Elijah Pope. So many people are going to be there that I've watched on TV, as well as people that I've worked with in and around the Kentucky area, from Grindhouse to PTW and OVW, and all the people that I've worked with. I'm looking forward to this. Now, to my white brothers and sisters, do not think that this is solely a black wrestling promotion. It certainly is, but it's open to you guys, and the card will be stocked with talent of all sorts. It will be a very diverse card as far as the matchup, and we want to invite you out. Come to the barbecue. A lot of times when we find somebody that we deem worthy of meeting Granny or things of that sort. We invite him to the proverbial barbecue. So come to this wrestling barbecue, my white brothers and sisters here in the Louisville and Kentuckiana area, because this is something that we need to support. It's refreshing to see somebody finally recognize what a hotbed of professional wrestling that Louisville is. For a long time, Louisville has been right there in the center of the wrestling universe. And this goes all the way back to Mid-South Wrestling and the Memphis territory with Jerry the King Lawler and superstar Bill Dundee and Dutch Mantell and even Macho Man Randy Savage. The territory was Memphis, Louisville, Lexington, and Evansville, Indiana, and all those spots in between. And so all of that was considered Memphis, and it was a hotbed of wrestling that Vince McMahon Sr. and the Vince McMahon that you know, Vincent Kennedy McMahon Jr., would pick from. They would come down to Memphis, which would be all of those cities that I just named, and they would pick superstars to bring them up to the big show, the WWF back then, the WWE now, because down here in Memphis, it was really good down-home wrestling. It was the real deal. The right hands, the closed fist. You're going to bleed. There's going to be some fire. Somebody's going to get smacked with a chair. So all of that extreme stuff that a lot of times the casual non-wrestling fan liked, that's Memphis. And they would do the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis on Monday, and they would come up to Louisville and do the Louisville Gardens on Tuesday. Then they would travel over to Lexington and do Rupp Arena on Thursday. And I don't know the name of the venue in Evansville, but that would be the Friday and Saturday show. And then they would repeat all over again. Monday, Memphis, they would break out the new show or what happened, the new match. Then they would drive up to Louisville and do it Tuesday at the Garden for Louisville. Then they would go over to Rupp Arena on Thursday and perform the same show, the same match, the same way, and Evansville and so on and so forth. And a lot of times, see, I met Jerry Lawler at WrestleCon 33 in Orlando, Florida, and we had an intimate conversation. And a lot of times the wrestlers and the promoters, Louisville was their favorite audience because of how fiery the crowd would be and how we got after it. Now, I don't know if you know, but the real mouth of the South is Jim Cornette. He's the Louisville Lip, and he's from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. And so anytime that he had a microphone in his hands, he would always shout out the city of Louisville, and he would be proud of his hometown. So I need all of you guys who are interested. If you love live wrestling, come on out for Derby City Wrestling on Sunday, March 26th. Now, there'll be food, there'll be drinks, there'll be, merchandise and all kind of things for the kids to keep everybody entertained. But if you want to see somebody get their ass kicked, we got that too. So meet me there, please. And it's something that we need to nail down to the ground, and it'll be a staple right here in the Derby City. So I'm looking forward to it. And we'll have the wrap up on the following week episode of Lee G News. So Derby City Wrestling, we're going to see you soon. And if you see me there, come up to me and say hello. One more thing. I'm sure you've probably seen on the news, in the headlines, on your timeline, so on and so forth, the Ja Morant situation. He posted to his own social media him brandishing a gun on a live video or whatever. And it has been detrimental to his forward progress and to his team, the Memphis Grizzlies. Allow me to just share some wisdom with you. To all of the young men who may be watching this, to all of the athletes who are watching this, I need you to be very careful of yourself. He is an NBA superstar. I'm sure he is a great person. I am a fan of him. But your ways and actions will show and prove who you are every time. And this is showing and proving him to want to be something that he isn't. We've all seen the family portraits of him and his parents and his siblings and him smiling. And this man went to college. And I just need you young men, you young women who are watching and listening to me, don't ever be afraid to be yourself. Be who you are, who you naturally are, who you always have been, who you were raised to be. Don't ever think that once you get to a certain position in your life that you have to become something that you aren't. Don't ever feel that you have to try to portray an image that is not true to your own self. Please, let me say this. There's nothing wrong with owning a gun. There's nothing wrong with carrying a gun. But what you cannot be is a superstar, a public figure, someone who represents multiple sources of income and streams. You cannot do that. Off the record, off camera, I said to one of my friends, he should have a shooter hired on his staff who carries a gun just in case trouble may arise. But you shouldn't even be in those situations in the first place. Okay? No one can be you but you. So be yourself. Be who you are. That's all it is. And I think that this young man, this NBA star, is trying to be something that he is not. And it's very detrimental to your forward progress, sir. So kids, be you. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for this episode of Lee G News. Keep it locked right here for more live and direct coverage at an all-time high, and we'll see you next week.